Good morning and namaste to all of you. Let's start our Thursday class with the prayers. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parbrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhu Bhavaswaha Tatsavitra Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Yo Naha Prachodaya Asto Ma Sadgamya Tamso Ma Jyotirgamya Mrityurma Amritam Gamya Om Sehna Vavatu Sehna Bhunatu Saviryam Karvavai Tejasvi Navai Tamastu Ma Vidvishavai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay, these days we are studying Shvetashvarta Upanishad. And there's only one verse left in chapter 3. Altogether, there are 6 chapters in this beautiful Upanishad. So this last verse of chapter 3 says, this is verse number 21, Ved aham etam ajram puranam sarv atmanam sarv gatam vibhutavat janam nirodham pravadanti yasya brahmavadina hi pravadanti nityam.
It's not this one, huh?
Yeah, that is the book. That is the book Shvetashvarta Upanishad. If somebody can tell me the page number.
184.
Thank you.
184, and what's the verse?
21. Verse number
Okay.
21.
Okay, thank you.
So Ved means no. Aham I, etam this, ajaram, ageless, puranam, ancient, sarva atmanam, one who is the self of all, sarvagatam, omnipresent, vibhutavat, because of being all pervasive. Vibhu. Janam nirodham, birthless. Pravadanti, speaking. Yasya, regarding whose. Brahmavadina, knowers of Brahma. He means indeed Pravadanti, speak of Nityam, eternal. So this great Rishi, from his direct experience of his realization, he's saying, I know this ageless, ancient one who is the self of all, who is omnipresent because of being all-pervasive, who is indeed said to be birthless and eternal by the knowers of Brahma. So this great Rishi is doubtless in his realization, and that's why he is declaring that he knows God. He says God is ageless, ancient. See, we forget that we are that ageless soul too. Okay, soul doesn't have any age. While body goes through the changes, there are 6 changes this body go through. They are called Shat Vikar. Once it's in existence in the womb, then it takes birth, then it grows, then there's a maturity, then decay, then death. All these 6 vikars happen to the body, not to the Atma. Form is the form of the body, not of the Atma. That's why he says God is formless, is ageless. Yet he is ancient. In fact, oldest. Because it existed before anything else existed. But in spite of being old, he is ever new and ageless. Because God is unconditioned by time. So that's why the idea of old and new do not apply to him. God is birthless. We are ignorant when we identify ourselves with the body and consider ourselves that we were born and we will die. Atma is never born and it never dies. The realized masters like him know this. And he's also saying he's all pervading eternal truth. From his experience, he's shouting it out to his students. Because he understands that his students need to hear this. It's not the arrogance which is talking, it's the realization which is talking. So the first 3 chapters we have seen that how beautifully this Rishi has explained this eternal truth to us. But this topic is so profound and so difficult to grasp. It has to be explained repeatedly. Because some of the aspects are revealed in a deeper understanding only. And that's why this was only 3 chapters and 3 more chapters. Deeper the subject, more repetition we need. I'm sure if there is a great musician in the audience, they will understand that in order to reach to the fullest of the rag, they need to repeat, they need to keep on practicing. There is a more and more depth. Sometimes a student can complete the syllabus, but still remain far from exploring the full depth of the subject. So that's why this great guru is going through it further into the depth of it. Let's look at verse number 1 of chapter number 4. य एकः अवर्णः बहुधा शक्ति योगाद वर्णान अनेकार निहितार्थः दधाति विएति च अन्ते विश्वम आदौ स देवा स न बुद्धिया शुभ्या समयुनक्तुः. य means who? Ekah, one. Avarnaha, without colors. So Varan is the color, Avarn without colors. Bahuda Shakti Yogad. Through his multi-powers. Bahuda Shakti. Varnan, colors. Anekan, many. Nihitarthaha. One with a purpose known only to himself. Dadhati creates. Vietihi dissolves. Vieti. Cha means and. Antehe, at the end. Vishwam, the creation. Adau, in the beginning. So means that. Devaha, divine being. So means he, nah means us. Buddhya, the intellect. Shubhya, with a pure. Samyunuktuhu, endow. The divine being who is one and without colors, who creates through his multi-powers, innumerable colors in the beginning of creation with a purpose known only to himself. Because we often have this question, why did God create this? Only he knows. We don't know, it's his creation. And who dissolves the entire creation at the end? May he endow us with a pure intellect. From one to many and many to one. It's almost like a colorless beam of light passing through a prism disperses the 7 colors of the spectrum. The same way, this attributeless God, one without a second, united with his infinite, inscrutable power of Maya, creates this multicolored, multidimensional, and this multiplying world. This world keeps on multiplying. And seems like there's no end to it. And it's difficult to imagine that it all comes from one. And even more difficult to imagine that it will all wind up in that one. So it comes from that one, goes back into that one at the time of the dissolution. And the meaning behind creation and dissolution. We all know that every object serves some purpose. Nothing is useless. An object discarded by one person may be very useful to another. That's why someone has said, there is no letter or sound which cannot become a mantra. There is no root or plant which has no medicinal value. There is no person who is unfit or useless. It is difficult to find a person who understands their use and utilizes them fully. Sometimes we think that a person is physically challenged or incapable or differently abled. But they can also do unbelievable things. There is a lot of meaning behind everything. Every event in our life has many lessons to teach. The more meaning we discover, the more remains to be discovered. When people ask, why creation? The simple answer, why not creation? God willed. We can only guess at the meaning behind creation. But really speaking, only God knows the purpose of his creation. But one thing, remember that God has no selfish motive or hidden agenda in creation. As human beings, sometimes we create something, or most of the time we create something for our selfish motive, but not God. He creates spontaneously and effortlessly in a blink of an eye. One can say that creation is for his recreation. People say that also. It's almost like a child plays with his own fingers and gets amused. The Lord manifests in many forms and plays with himself. The rishis say that God creates this world to give a chance to all the beings to exhaust their inherent desires. So that afterwards they seek him through his creation. And then there's a seeking through prayer. There are many moods and feelings in prayers. Some who understand that God is omniscient, omnipotent, and compassionate, they sit mute before him in prayer. Some ask for guidance and strength. Some pray with the feelings. Like, when I become good, when will I turn to you? When will I become happy? They say the names of God. Some pray with longing to see the Lord, to gain liberation, or with this sufferings in separation from the Lord. They say that we cannot live without you, God. We want to be with you. And there are others who are looking at themselves and feel they are even unfit to approach him and ask for nothing or anything. So there's so many different ways we go to God and we pray to him. Here the seeker repeats his prayer to God to fill his mind with noble thoughts so that he can know the truth. And a glimpse of his infinite variety in creation is given in the next 3 verses. Verse number 2, he says, Tad ev agni, tad adityaha, tad vayu, tad uchandrama, tad ev shukram, tad brahma, tad apaha, tad prajapati. This is verse number 2. Tad means that, ev means alone, agni, fire. Again, tad means that, aditya, sun, vayu, air, tad, that, chandrama, the moon, tad ev, that indeed, shukram, pure, tad brahma, that truth, tad apaha, that water, tad prajapati, that creator. That alone is fire. And that means that is with a capital T, that. That means the God, the Brahma, the truth, the absolute, whatever term you want to use, but that alone is fire. That is the sun. That is air. And that is the moon. That indeed is pure. That is the truth. That is water, and that is the creator. Next verse. Tvam istrihi, tvam puman, asi tvam kumaraha, utvaha kumari. Tvam jirnaha danden, vanchasihi, tum jaha bhavasi, vishvato mukha. Tvam means you, istri means woman, puman, man, asi, are. Tvam kumaraha, you are a young boy. Ut means or, va means to, kumari, young girl. Tvam means you, jirnaha, old man. Dandain, with a stick. Vanchasi, tottering. Tvam jataha, you're born. Jataha means born. Bhavasi are. Vishavato mukha, one with faces in all directions. You are the woman, you are the man. You are the young boy and you are the young girl too. And you are old man tottering with a stick. You are born with faces in all directions. How beautiful these verses are. So that for our clarification, and let's look at the verse number 4, and then I'll just go through the details of these words also. Nilaha patangaha hasti lohitakshaha Tangi Darbha Ritvaha Samudraha Anadimat Tvam Vibhutvena Vartase Yataha Jatane Bhuvanani Vishwaha Nilaha blue Patangaha B Haritaha green Lohitakshaha having reddish eyes Tadid Garbha the clouds possessed of lightning in their womb. Garab. Ritvaha, the seasons. Samudraha, the seas, the ocean. Anadimat, beginningless. Tvam, you. Vibhutvain, on account of your omnipresence. Vartase, exist. Yataha, from whom. Jatane are born. Bhuvanani, the worlds. Vishwaha, all. You are the blue bee, the green bird with the reddish eyes, the clouds, the seasons, and the seas. You are beginningless and pervade everything. And from you are born all the worlds. God as the vast cosmos. In verse number 2, he is talking about all the 5 elements. He alone is the 5 elements, and the sun, moon, and the stars made up from them. He alone is the laws of nature and the deities who govern those laws. He alone is the totality and also the individuality. That means he is both the global as well as local. Then question comes, is God a man or a woman? Because this is a subject of a lot of debates. Because God is generally referred as he. That's why these reactions get created in the society, in those sensitive minds. It's like a gender bias. However, we don't need to have any controversy about this. Our rishis have cleared it for us. He is formless, hence he is genderless. But even all the genders, whether it's a male or a female, God is there. So in the absolute nature, he is formless. But in the relative sense, he is in every male and the female. It is God alone who manifests as a young boy and a girl also. And we see the femininity in a woman because of him alone, or the manliness in a man. Beauty of the graceful aging or the unsteady gait of a senior citizen. That is also clarified by this great rishi. He is timeless, but he appears to be born, growing, and aging. The scriptures say that we should meet all with love and respect. That's what it really means. Because as God is in all the forms, in a king also, in a beggar also, in old also, a new also, male also, female also, see God in everybody. When we are disrespecting somebody, we are disrespecting the Creator. God, the beauty in nature also, in this verse number 4, Nilaha patangoho. Some people are far removed from the nature and some do not mind exploiting nature. God is in the nature. Some people, they love nature, live their life in harmony with the nature, and they are very sensitive towards nature. So our scriptures, they ask us to look upon as a divine manifestation and worship the nature. I was very touched this morning. One of my students' cat passed away early morning. She called me. Right now, she is on her way with her son to the cremation ground. And she told me, first she asked me in the morning, what can I do right now? And I told her what to do. Then I told her, when the cat's body is being cremated, it's good to say some mantras. So they'll be calling me around 12 o'clock. So to be so sensitive towards not just human beings, but towards the animals and the plants and the birds and the bees. This is what we have learned from our scriptures, that God is everywhere. This Rishi becomes very poetic in these verses. He is painting pictures of God's creation. God can be seen in the form of the beautiful blue bee and butterflies when they are fluttering among the flowers. They fly high and low. Or when the birds are chirping, whether they are green parrots or the gray sparrows. This is a multitude of creation, big and small, splendid in colors, unbelievable in shapes actually. How beautiful this creation is. He says this is gigantic creation of God alone. And then now he doesn't stop there. He says, Lord is seen in the storming clouds also, changing seasons also, various moods of the ocean also, and the silence of the night also. We all know that no two beings, even the identical twins, are the same. That's why the color of the sunset or the sunrise, they never get repeated. It's almost like God is breaking the mold after making something. And he has many, many molds, countless molds. If you can see him in all, what love and joy there will be in life. Small things like the splash of water or the cool breeze caressing our skin could transport us into meditation. It doesn't take long. Once upon a time, there was a king who did not have any heir. He decided to hand over his kingdom to any young and intelligent person who could spot him in a crowd. He went to a huge fair in disguise. Thousands of people were there. And people knew that king was there looking for an heir. So some of the people made half-hearted efforts to search for him. They wanted to offer food to some people so that they can take the throne. There was one young man who remained focused and saw that, king saw that this young man alone did not indulge in any pleasures, sat watching others. He recognized the king. And this young man was crowned to the throne. The same way God hides among us. One who searches for him even in the midst of all worldly temptations, sure to find him. Sure to find him. So God is here, there, everywhere. But we just get tempted with all these temptations and we miss God. We look at the beautiful face, the charming personality, or even in the nature we see that beautiful moonlight, but we forget it's the God who is shining through the moon. It is the God who is barking in that dog or chirping in that bird. We forget that part. But in order to notice that, we got to sit still and watch. And that is what that young boy did. He sat and watched, and he could recognize. And that's called meditation. The next mantra illustrates the nature of the Lord's Maya and the influence of that Maya on ignorant individuals and the realized ones also. Verse number 5. Ajam ekam lohit shukal krishnam bahvi prajaha srijmanam sarupah ajahi eka yushmana anushete jahati enam bhukt bhogam ajah anya. Ajam, birthless. Ekam, one. Lohit, red. Shukal, white. Krishnam, black color. Bahvi, many. Praja, offsprings. Srijmanam, who creates. Sarupaha, many forms. Ajaha, birthless. He means indeed Ekaha, one. Jushmanaha, being adored. Anushetehe, enjoys. Jahati, renounces. Enam, her. Bhukta bhogam, one who has been enjoyed. Ajaha, birthless. Anya, another. A birthless power. Red, white, and black in color. Who creates many offsprings like herself. Is indeed adored and enjoyed by a birthless one, while another birthless one renounces her after having enjoyed her. This is the difference between ignorant and the realized. So this mantra is often quoted by commentators. It's quite famous mantra. So the first part, the nature of Maya. God's indescribable divine power is called Maya Shakti or Prakriti. He described it in the previous verses also. This is a potential creative and deluding power of God. Is always with him. That's why it's beginningless. And Maya has the three qualities, Satav, Rajas, and Tamas. When he says Lohit, red, that is Rajas, Shukal, white, that is Sattva, and Krishnam, the black, that is Tamas. Knowledge, activity, and inertia. These three have three qualities as age, Apaha and Prithvi. Fire, water, earth also. Our body has a preponderance of inertia, inertness, tamas, that is a earth element. Body, physical body. The physiological functions, prana, and sense organs of action have more rajas and the fire element. Mind and the sense organs of perception have more sattva. The knowledge aspect and the element of water. So that's why this order of enumeration indicates the predominance of the creation, the sustenance, and the destruction, the three main functions of Maya. In the presence of God, Maya manifests to its full potential power and creates the gross and the subtle elements and the infinite variety of things and beings. And that's what he's talking about over here. Praja, offsprings. Srijmanam, sarupaha. The cause pervades the effect, and therefore the three qualities pervade everything in the creation. Everything. And we get bondaged. Bondage of Maya. The finite individuals, like us, we are also beginningless. We have been taking birth after birth from beginningless time. The ignorant among us identify with the Maya and its effects. That means the body, the mind, intellect. And we start thinking me and mine. We also become doer of the actions. We take pride in that. Or the enjoyer of the world and the results of actions. In Bhagavad Puran, there is a popular story of King Puranjan, who got so attracted and attached to Puranjani. When she danced, he danced. When she sang, he sang. In her happiness, he smiled, and in her sorrow, he wept. This is the bondage of Maya. When the body suffers, I suffer. When the mind is happy, I am happy. That is Maya. Attachments and bondages are often created through our relationships. In the scriptures, there's another beautiful story. See, our scriptures are so beautiful. With the help of the stories, they give us this deep philosophy so that we can understand. When this bondage was created, bondage is called bandhan. It was created. Couldn't find any place to stay. Wherever he approached, people rejected him. This bondage went to Brahma. Asked for accommodation. Brahmaji said, stay with any person you want. But he complained that no one wants me. They just shut their door on my face. Lord Brahma said, do not introduce yourself as bondage, bandhan. Disguise yourself and go as sambandhan. Everybody will welcome you. So he went and knocked on someone's door. Knock, knock, who's there? And the doors were wide open. How easily we are bound by relationships. Sambandh. Countless people are being born every day. Countless people they are dying also every day. It doesn't affect us. Not even an iota of happiness or the sadness, only when there is a sambandh, it affects us. In a Vishnu Puran, there is a telling verse which means, as long as man keeps forming relationships which please his mind, so long will his heart be pierced with the nails of sorrow. How do we get freedom from Maya then? The intelligent individual understands well the binding nature of Maya. So that an intelligent person does not get trapped even when he is enjoying the world. Intelligent person knows that the Maya is not meant for enjoyment. This Maya is there to recognize the God. Tamogun of Maya, it's God. Rajogun projects what is not there. But Sattvagun helps us to discriminate between the real and the false, permanent and the temporary. And it frees us from the false identifications and reveals the truth. Sattvagun. So the wise person gives up Rajas and Tamas and develops Sattvagun and liberates himself. That's why ever since we were little, we were told by our parents, eat sattvic, speak sattvic, even exercise sattvic. Pick up the sattvic books to read, keep the sattvic company. We were told by our elders. There's also a subtle word play in this verse. Aja. Aja means a female goat. And Aj, a male goat. One male goat gets fascinated and involved with the female goat and gives birth to a lot of progeny for which he becomes responsible. Another male goat leaves her well alone as he sees the bondage in such pleasures. Shankaracharya ji, we saw in Vivek Chudamani, he says, like an animal tied by a rope, the individual identifies and gets attached to the body and the objects of the world by the ropes of Maya and its qualities. When he understands their binding nature and worthlessness, he becomes free. You can open your Vivek Chudamani, verse number 173. That's where Shankaracharya ji has said this. You know, check it out. In the next two mantras, we'll see next week that another beautiful analogy of the relations between the individual and God. Let's stop the class here today. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaye Purnam Eva Visheshyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you very much.